So good morning, everyone, and welcome back after our spring break. We're working with the hips today, and I'm going to be doing quite a bit of strengthening work, a little bit of opening, but quite a bit of strengthening work with the hips today, moving up from the legs and the feet. So just starting with those legs and feet, just bend your knees and the knees tracking over the second toes. Just kind of notice how everything's feeling down there. Any differences, one foot to the other, maybe adjusting your feet. One foot could go behind the other, for example. It's feeling like it needs more space. Inhale, pulling up on those kneecaps, and then maybe squeezing the glutes at the top as well. Just feel that. So drawing the thighs together and squeezing in towards the center. Exhale, bending, and you can look down at your feet. Inhale, pulling up from the ground, pulling the energy up from the ground. Squeeze those thighs together. And just keep this going your own timing. It's just a dynamic stretch for the legs. And energetically, this just helps us ground. And you can start a ha sound if you like on the exhale. You can lift up those toes on the inhale as well, activating the legs a bit more and the feet. Again, squeezing the thighs together and activating the glutes. Adding the arms if you like. Inhale, radiating like the sun moving out away from you to your height, wherever that is for your neck and shoulders today. And exhale like a waterfall down the front body, the side body, the back body, all the way down to the earth. Inhale, drawing up from the earth, radiating out like the sun, out of the heart space, pulling up on those legs, activating those glutes, those hips. Exhale like a waterfall coming down from above, top of the head, down the front, the sides, the back body, all the way down the legs to the feet. Just keep this going a few more times, just a body scan. Sometimes it really helps to move the body when we're scanning the body, especially when it's a newer practice. And you just feel into all those different parts of your body. And the visualization is to help you. If it doesn't, just drop that and feel the body. I'm adding Ujjayi Pranayama, constricting the throat on inhale and exhale. And adding ohms if you like on that exhale. It can be in any time. It doesn't have to be with me. A chorus of ohms is beautiful. Om. As you chant that om, or you just make a humming sound, draw the belly in from the pelvic floor up. Om. If you like, you can touch your hip area, that second chakra area. This is in the energetics of yoga, the area of transformation, emotional freedom. There might be some emotional stuckness from a recent experience or even past experiences, or perhaps even beyond that. So we're just getting that all moving, stirring that pot today. When you're ready, bringing your feet together. And we're going to inhale, we're going to come up on the toes, squeezing the thighs together. And exhale, bringing the arms down the sides and resisting coming down, using the strength of the legs, squeezing the thighs together, using those glute medius, the outside of the hips. So important for stabilizing. Inhale, arms up the front. Just notice the difference in the balance when you bring the arms up the front versus the sides. And exhale, coming down. You can always do this holding onto a wall with one hand or both hands, or the back of a chair or a countertop if you're feeling unstable. Just keep this going your own timing, and I just encourage you, rather than really arching the back as you come up, which you could do, maybe extending the spine a little bit longer, which might help your balance. Resist coming down, resist coming down. So that resisting coming down is really using the strength of the legs, the ankles, the feet. I'm doing about 3 rounds. Just notice your breath today. Is your inhale longer than your exhale, or the opposite? Or are they even? Just notice that biofeedback from your nervous system. Long exhales when we're a bit more relaxed. Long inhale, we're a bit more activated. Right in the middle, we have a bit of balance. Just notice how you feel having just done that. All right, we're going to move into some balance work with our legs and our feet. I'm going to move my mat so I can use the floor a bit more. You're welcome to do that if you like without a mat. Might feel better for you. So inhale, bringing your arms up the front. Exhale, bringing your left leg up. My students, 2 of them here today, call this the Chennai special. This is from my teacher, Mr. Sridhar in India. Inhale, opening the hip. Exhale, drawing it towards the center, drawing the energy up from the pelvic floor. Inhale, kicking back, arms together if you can. And stretch up, you're making a bit of a curve in the back. And exhale back to the center, balancing on that right foot as long as possible before you bring both together. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, right leg coming up. Inhale, open the hip. Exhale, gather it to the center. Inhale, coming back. Just going to show this from this angle. So you're trying to go straight up with the arms and back with the leg. So you're activating the back of the glutes, and exhale, center. And we do that again, left and right. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Use that to draw the leg up. The leg should feel heavy. Inhale, open up. Draw the shoulder blades together. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. You can flex the foot to help you keep that connection. Inhale, extend back. Arms straight up and kick the leg back and feel the lower back muscles on the left side and into the glutes. Exhale, draw it back to the center. And last second, stand on both feet. Inhale, other side, arms up. Exhale, draw the right leg up. Inhale, opening. Exhale, gathering to the center. Inhale, extending. You can point the foot as you inhale, flex as you exhale if you like. It's an add-on. Feel those lower back muscles, hips. Okay, I'm going to try to have you do this on your own. What do you think? 3 more rounds. I'm going to keep doing it. You can see the looks on your face as I say that. Let's just see. I'll try one. Inhale up. I'll get you started. Just keep breathing. Inhale is always opening. Exhale is always closing. All right, other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lift the leg, arms halfway down, and keep going on your own. Two more rounds. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, just your arms. Exhale, leg, arms. Keep going. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, totally on your own. In your own time. With your own breath length, whatever it is today, just honor it. And rest. Notice how the heart rate has gone up from the physical exertion, but also from the lengthening of the breath. Notice how you might feel a little taller. Okay, let's do a little bit more side movement. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, coming to your left, and you're going to reach to the side. Feel all the stabilizing work going on in that left leg. Inhale, resist, coming back. Feel the ankle work, the leg work, the hip work. Exhale, other side, reaching out and away. Draw the belly in. Inhale. Notice if one side's different than the other. What's that tell you about your hip? Just keep this going your own time. Exhale, side, inhale, center. Doing around 6 rounds or until you know you're done. That's how I normally practice. My body will just say, I'm done. It's approximately 6, but sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. When you're done, just rest. If you want to do a little bit more, do more. And finishing up when you're ready. Bend your knees if you like. Samastiti, can you pull up from the earth? Draw your thighs together, maybe lift your toes, squeeze your thighs together, activate the glutes. And then exhale, draw the belly in from the pelvic floor up. Notice when you draw the belly in, how the lower back relaxes behind, lengthens. And with that foundation, maybe you feel yourself growing up and out. And observe the breath. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Notice any sensation of energy running down the legs into the feet. Bend the knees at any time to allow that. And moving on. Okay, we're going to go into the back body a little bit more now. So invite you to have a wall that you work with, or if you have a countertop like I've got here, a ledge, you can work with that, or the back of a chair if you prefer. I'm just going to make sure my mat is out of the way. I'll just show you what we're doing. So we're going to be going into, let's just start with this, a spinal stretch kind of position. We haven't done this in a while. This is from Iyengar Yoga. Some of you probably remember this. And then we're going to be bringing one leg up at a time. So bringing your left leg up as
You inhale and exhale, bring it down. And then the other side. Just side to side. Your feet can be hip width apart or together when you come down. So I'm trying it both ways. It feels a little bit different when they're apart versus together. And if you feel ready, can you stay for a few breaths here? Your hands could be on the seat of a chair. We've done this before. On the back of a chair, a countertop. And this is usually called a variation of Virabhadrasana, warrior. When you're ready, switching sides, exhale down, inhale up. And then stay, trying to lengthen the spine. Strengthening the standing leg, as well as the leg that's up and the glutes, the hips, working hard. Work that foot, inhale, point, exhale, flex if you like. Just finishing up. And coming to standing. Okay, we're going to try something a little bit different. This might be harder or easier. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, can you go towards that wall and bring the leg up? Left leg first. Inhale, coming up. So probably a little bit harder in terms of balance and maybe a little bit easier in terms of big muscle work. Getting more into those slow twitch muscles, stabilizing muscles, and those proprioceptors, those bundles of awareness all over the body that we want to keep activating. So we don't really know why, but with age, there's a steep increase in falls. And we think it might be because obviously the muscles are losing strength, but also the awareness of the nerves. They're becoming a little less aware, so we want to train them to wake up those nerve bundles. So doing unusual things like this can wake up new neural pathways in the brain and body. And hopefully it's a little bit fun. If this is too much, you can go back to the first one. For some people, this will be easier, others will be harder. We did around 6 rounds. I'm just going to do one more round. Also strengthening those hamstrings. And take a rest. Feel that heart rate elevated. If you like, put your hands on your heart. And just meditate on feeling your heartbeat. The more you do this, when your heart rate is elevated, the more you'll be able to do it without even touching your body. Just in your everyday life, it's a wonderful meditation, just feeling the heart beat.
Observe it slow down. Maybe sensations of energy going down one or both legs as you awaken parts of the body mind that maybe have been a little bit asleep. Okay, so we're going to try putting those socks on, or you can use a face cloth. I'm just going to angle my camera down so you can see the floor. You're going to need your yoga mat as well. If you're using with face cloth, it's just a little more tricky to go side to side, so that's why I prefer it with the socks. And you want to be really careful with not falling or something like that. You could have a wall in front of you just for a bit of support. Yes, so I'm going to show it a couple of different ways. Yeah, just to hopefully find a way that works for you. So you're going to bring your left leg back and slide it back. And I've got my right leg on the mat just for security. And then exhale, I'm going to draw it in, and then I'm going to step on the mat and do the other side. Now you can do this without the mat, and then you don't have to deal with stepping onto it, but it does add a little bit of security. So I'm going to show it without the mat. Some of you will feel comfortable doing this. Just be careful because, you know, it's a little less stable on the standing leg. So inhale, bringing the leg back, exhale, bringing it forward. Exhale down, inhaled up. You can tell this is my preferred method to do it, but you're welcome to hold on to a wall, have one foot on a mat. And I like using the socks because you don't have to deal with sliding face cloths under your feet. Exhale down and inhale up. So just notice all the muscles being used as you do this, stretching into those hips in a lungy kind of way. The psoas of the back leg, and then the front leg really working as you come up, as well as the back. So everything working, stretch and strength. And you don't have to go back very far, just go to where you want. I'll show it going this way. So that's exhale, inhale up. Just go to where you can. I could be touching a bench or a chair as I come down for more support. I've definitely done this when I've been injured. I have used a bench for this exercise for my hands when I just feel like I can't do it because of an injury in a knee or hip. So this is preparing for a lunge position. So from full Tadasana to Ekapara Rajagopatasana. That's a mouthful in Sanskrit. It's got other names as well. One-sided king pigeon pose is the lunge name. And just finishing up. And taking a rest. Again, you can place hands on the heart. Feel that heart rate elevated. Yoga cardio, I call it.
by working the muscles and lengthening the breath. That combination elevates the heart rate. And then gradually slows down. You wanted to go back to neutral before you move on to the next series. That's if you're thinking about it more medically. Remove those socks. Okay, the next one we haven't done in a while, but this is one I created, I don't know, a few years ago, and I haven't taught in a while, so I thought I'd teach it today. So I'm going to teach it from the side. I'm not going to use the mat again. You'll see if you want to. So it's going from where we just were. So coming to, just have to remember where I am here. Yeah, coming to the back of your mat space, but without a mat. And inhale, the arms are coming up the front. And then exhale, I'm going to bring my left foot forward. And I'm going to lunge to where I can. Inhale, coming back. So this is actually the modification for the previous one with the socks. Exhale, coming forward and down. Inhale, back. Exhale, forward and down. So again, two poses, full Tadasana and Ekapada Rajagopatasana lunge. And you're trying to do this as gracefully as possible, which means in a nice, even way, without too much shaking. But whatever it is, you can do this coming to a bench. Your hands could be coming to a bench or to a chair, an ottoman, a bed, countertop, if that's easier for you right now. Stretching that back thigh as well. You might feel that as you bend that back knee. And just finishing up. When you feel done, or you've done around 6 rounds. And that one probably brought your heart rate up quite a bit. Just meditate on that heart rate, that heartbeat. Okay, one more. We're going to try stepping back. So more forward in your mat space. Again, I'm not using a mat because I find it awkward. You might have a different mat than I do that works for this. So you're going to step back. This is your exhale movement eventually, and then inhale up. Now you could have, you don't bring the knee totally to the ground if you don't want, or you can bring it totally to the ground, your choice. You can bring it down just a little bit like this, or more. And notice which one you found easier, this one or the last one. Find all this lunge work really important for flexibility of the hips, of the psoas in particular. That's a major gripper in the body. It causes problems in the lower back, in the hips. And it could be based on past traumatic experiences, that gripping in the body, a freeze response from the past. often goes there. So we have no idea how many layers we're working on here in the body-mind. But where there is tightness, we try to create softness, whether it be in the body or the mind, and we think of those as a continuum. And again, you could have a bench in front of you. You could just come to here. When I was rehabbing my fractured hips, that's what I was doing. Just had a bench in front of me, a chair. And just finishing up. All right, I find that one a little easier than the front one. Notice for yourself. You'll know from your heart rate. And all these things we do really protect us. If we do have injuries, we'll heal faster, we'll have more mobility. So one of the definitions of yoga is that which protects us from whatever we have to go through in life, from the body and the mind. All right, so we're gonna go into tree pose now, having done all of that. So this is gonna be our last big strengthener one, I promise, and then we're gonna move more into softness and sukham and flexibility. So if you could balance on your right leg and then see where you can turn your leg out to that left leg. And this might be your pose. And then some of you will be able to come to just below the knee, and some of you will be able to come to the groin. I don't do that anymore. It doesn't feel good in my body. So whatever your version of this pose is, hands at the heart, you could be holding a countertop, back of a chair, a wall. And if it's comfortable, bring the arms up. This is a stay pose. If you want, you can move those arms dynamically. So you could exhale down the sides and inhale up the center or the opposite. This makes it harder. Or perhaps it keeps your busy mind engaged. So in that case, it might be easier. Another modification is you can move your leg in on the exhale and out on the inhale if it just feels too much to stay there. It's really working that glute med. Said to protect us from falls. When you're ready, release. And one of my colleagues, a physiotherapist who practices with me, she says she does this almost every day to ward against falling. So balancing on your left leg, turning out that right as you inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale. And maybe exhale, bring the leg a little higher. And maybe higher still, right to the groin, your choice. Maybe on an inhale, you bring your arms up, pick a spot on the floor about 6 feet in front. You could look straight ahead.
You don't want to be forcing that hip open. We've really warmed it up to now stay. And again, you could exhale down the sides and inhale up the center or the opposite. You could exhale, draw the knee to the center. And inhale, open it up. And notice if one leg feels easier to balance on than the other. And when you're ready, coming back down. And notice in your samasthiti, your even standing pose, whether you feel actually a little bit more balanced now. Foot to foot, leg to leg, hip to hip. Can you squeeze those thighs together? Lift the toes maybe. Pull up from the pelvic floor to the belly button as you exhale. Okay, we're going to tie this together with an Utkatasana and then take it down to the ground. So if you have a wall to work with, you could also use a chair. We've done this before. So you could be on your mat. I'm going to stay without my mat, but you could certainly have a mat right now if you wanted to. Actually, you know what? I think I will use my mat a little bit safer for this one. When I first trained in Chennai, we didn't use a mat for any of the standing poses. So I still have that in my system, and my Iyengar teacher, which she's taught standing poses once a term and put all the workshop work we had done together in a vinyasa. There was no mat. So I know that's an old part of the Krishnamacharya work. So I play with it often. Okay, feet away from the wall, and you're just gonna bend the knees and find your spot with the knees, not going beyond your toes. And then inhale, coming up, and exhale, coming down. And that's really working on strengthening those thighs, those hips. Inhale up, exhale down. You're a downhill skier. This will prepare you for that as well. And if you feel ready, stay in the position. You could put a big bolster between your legs. I didn't grab mine today, or a big pillow and squeeze it as you exhale, or even a block. Inhale up with the arms, exhale, release, or leave the arms up, your choice. I'm going to move my arms. Your legs are starting to shake. You're welcome to go into the forward bend a little bit easier from now from this position, or try to do a few more. Maybe feeling those inner thighs working. And let's release it now. If you're not already there, bring your buttocks up the wall, come forward, wall forward bend. Release the head if it's comfortable. If you like, you can inhale, come halfway up, the hands at hip height, stretch the back long. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, and exhale, Uttanasana for bend.
You can always bend your knees at the bottom. Your legs have had enough, just bend those knees. And when you're ready, stay in the position. Maybe hold behind the ankles. If you like, do a stitty inhale, lift the chest. You could hold those big toes as well. Exhale, forward fold. Just stay. And when you're ready, bring your left foot forward. You might want to grab a pillow or a blanket to put under your right knee. We're going to go into the lunge that we've prepped for a lot today. And for many of us, it will be good to have something under that knee, so I invite you to do that. And I'm going to bring my camera down as we transition down to the floor. See me a bit better. Got a nice ledge here to help me get into this. So different ideas on this, but generally now my yoga teacher and physios agree generally now that as long as the knee doesn't go beyond the toes, you're good. So inhale, arms. So I'm going to do actually opposite arm to front leg. So left leg forward, right arm up, inhale up, and exhale down. And if you like, you can go just here or stretch back. Inhale up. This is working that right psoas. We really warm this up today. You could have your hands on a bench and just move back and forth, or on a chair, the chair against the wall. Just seeing what you guys have chosen. Okay, good. Got lots of different things going on. Yeah, the hands can be at the wall too. Good. Yeah. Your hands could be on blocks too. I often forget this one because it's not from Chennai, it's more anger, but you can do this as well. It's yeah, these fancy yoga blocks. You can do this quite nice, very stable, either on the high end or the lower end, middle, or even baby end. Okay, we're going to switch sides. I'm quite enjoying these blocks. I can keep those for a minute. It's always good to try different variations and just see which one's going to give you the right balance of stiram strength and sukham softness, which in the Yoga Sutras says that's how we want to practice. If you make it a little harder, you add those arms, and just the opposite arm, so the left arm, right knee forward, left arm up on the inhale, that activates that left hip flexor or psoas, the front of the hip, a bit more. And you see I've got a ledge here I can hold on to. You might have something like that, a wall. Don't let the knee go beyond those toes. My blocks now. Some of you might want to stay in the pose. We didn't do that on the other side, but maybe some of you did. You could try that. You could go into the full pose. Ekapada Rajagopattasana. The full pose, you're holding the back foot up, but we're not going to do that part. Palms together or interlocked. When you're ready, coming back into child's pose. If child's pose doesn't work for you, just lie on your back in Apanasana. And if it works for you, you can do a modification of this pose from, again, Iyengar yoga, where you work on the groin. You bring the knees apart. So I'm going to show you this way so you can see maybe a bit better. The knees come apart, and then from there you come forward. And that gets into the groin. You could turn your feet out. I find this very uncomfortable in my body, but some people like to do that. And the more you bring the knees apart, the bigger the groin stretch. And notice if one side is different than the other. So for example, I can feel this is my left, feel like, whoa, that's so much tighter. And that's a structural thing for me. So just notice that in your own body. Just something you need to work with. You might be able to change it, you might not be able to. Coming on to your side body, we're going to do some more hip strengthening work. And we're going to do our sleeping Vishnu pose, one of my favorite poses, Anantasana. And Ananta is means harmony, and it's Vishnu. The images, the classical pose is this. So you're hanging out like this. You look like Jane Fonda, and you're like this. So this is the classical pose. Vishnu's lying on his couch. You might have seen images of the sleeping Buddha hanging out. And the idea is this is the observer inside of us, just hanging out. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do a strengthening version of this. So you're going to lie down. This was given to me years ago by my teacher for healing a hip injury I had in 2018. You're going to bend the bottom leg. So I'm going to cue as if this is also your left leg on top. So I'm bending the right leg, left leg on top, and stretching my hands together if I can, or that front hand, that left hand can be on the floor. If it doesn't work to have this right arm under your head, you could have a pillow under your head. Okay, so those are modifications. You could keep your bottom leg straight. I like bending it because you get a bit more traction of the hip that way. So inhale, I want you to point that left leg away as much as you can and feel like someone's stretching your hip, the front of your hip, the side of your hip, a big stretch. So that's your inhale. And then exhale, bring the leg up. Point, the toes are pointing towards me. Flex foot, that is. And then inhale, point the toes away, hands together. Stretch the whole side body and the hip. Exhale, flex the toes towards the screen. The hand, that left hand comes to the outside of the left thigh. And just keep that going. This is a vinyasa version of Anantasana, the sleeping Vishnu pose. And Ananta means harmony. It's one of the names of Adishesha, the snake that represents the bed of Vishnu. And the idea is that snake is not too tight and not too loose. Very strong, yet very supple. Flexible, yet strong. So this is often in our bodies and our minds will either be too strong and tight or too flexible and weak. And that can be in the body and the mind. And just take a moment to maybe meditate. What is that for you? Or maybe you're right in the middle, which is where we're going. Do you feel that maybe your hip is a little higher on one side than the other and you're getting some traction through that by doing this? Maybe you're feeling the outside of the hip really working. Let's take a break. Just bend both knees. Just rest a minute. This is one of my favorite hip strengthener poses. Let's go to the other side. Okay, so again, just a reminder, so the classical pose is like this, holding that big toe and hanging out and try not to fall over, which is pretty hard to do, but if you balance right, just right, you can get it. So that's kind of fun, but doesn't really do too much, except give you a big stretch maybe. So we're gonna strengthen by hanging out here. My left arm is straight, my ear is on my arm. You can use a pillow instead if that's not comfortable for your shoulder. That front hand, that right hand can be in front of you or joining the left so that we can get more traction from the top hip. I suggest bending that left leg as modification also makes it more stable, and then stretch that top leg, that right leg long, stretch it away from you and get some traction through the hip. If you have one hip higher than the other, this will feel amazing. It can help with a lot of arthritis that happens in the hip. Just this can get you out of pain, I've found. So inhale here, stretching long, and then exhale, bring that right hand to the right outside of the hip. The knee is facing the screen, flexing the toes towards the screen, towards you, and then inhale, point the toes. Feel the connection between the fingertips together on top and stretching the toes away on the other end. That's your traction. That's your inhale, exhale, coming up. Exhale, coming towards the center. Inhale, stretching away from the center. That's the Krishnamacharya method of breathing. Except when the movement of the spine trumps that. So inhale is back arch and exhale is contraction. Inhale, extending away, exhale, contracting towards the center, draw the belly in. Just notice if one hip is different than the other in terms of its strength or flexibility. I recommend doing this once a week in your practice if you can. Clam shells will give you some variation of this, a little bit different. I think this is particularly helpful if you have one hip that's higher than the other. Gets into that psoas on that inhale, you might feel the front of the hip getting a stretch. And just finishing up, inhale, stretch away. Exhale, bend the knees, rest inside child's pose. You might have a pillow under your head. When you're ready, lying on your back. And if you have a pillow or a block to put under your buttocks, you might enjoy this modification. You don't have to do this. This works for my body. It might not work for yours. We're going to do a hip opener. Stretching now. We've done a lot of strength work. I want to end with some softer stretching poses. So the left ankle crossing on top of the right thigh. You're going to inhale, open that hip using the left hand. Exhale, bring the knee towards the right shoulder. So you could do just that. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Having this pillow under my hips, just make sure that the hips keep stable. If it's comfortable, maybe bringing that leg up. I like to hold my foot my left foot as I do this. You can do the figure 4 pose, variation of asana, Ekpada version. So I like to hold my right heel or arch with my right hand and then use my left hand to open the hip. So inhale away, exhale towards you. You could have that right foot on the wall as well. And just stay there. So that I'm pretending I have a wall behind my right foot right now. That can feel really nice. And again, this pillow is just making sure my hips don't go out of balance. They often do in this pose. So I like to block that with that slight curve under the hips. Maybe staying in the pose, relaxing that right leg. And you could have that right foot on the wall and do this. We're going to switch sides. Notice if one side's different than the other. And again, that might be structural or because of an injury. If it's structural, it's something like scoliosis, you just have to keep working with it. So inhale, opening that hip, that right hip. Got my left foot on the ground right now. Exhale, bringing the knee across. So this is step 1. And this might be your pose if you've got, for example, hip replacement or something like that going on. That doesn't apply to any of you, but if you're watching online, this might be the appropriate move for you. And just taking it to the next step. When you cross the ankle, try not to put the ankle right on the thigh, cross above it, just so you're not putting pressure on a joint. Again, you could do that figure 4, or if you prefer, holding that right foot with the left hand and using the right hand to open the hip as you draw the leg towards you. So that's your exhale, and then inhale away. So your choice. Make sure you have no pressure in that right knee. If you do, change the angle of the pose so you can bring the heel a little closer to the left hip, for example, or just don't put any pressure on the joints. So this might feel better, for example. It's getting into the piriformis, wraps around from the hip into the back. And get sciatica pain from tightness in the piriformis. Maybe staying in the pose again. That left foot could be on the wall. I'm flexing it now to show you what that would look like. Your left leg could be on a chair or a bench or an ottoman for a more relaxed approach. And some of you could, this is classical variation, hold that big toe. Didn't show it on the other side, but you could try that. And ready, release. I'm just going to do a short rest before we come to seated to close, because we really open those hips. I want to take advantage of this. So a short rest in Supta Baddha Konasana, relaxed version, or you can just do Shavasana if you want to stretch your legs and rest them at this point. If you want to keep going in the direction of the opening, you can have blocks under those knees or pillows. Hopefully the pillows are similar in height. or a bolster. Something like that. Arms could be overhead, and you're just going to stay here and breathe. Having worked one side at a time, working both. Every time you exhale, try to draw the lower back to the ground. And if you wanted to add movement, you could draw the legs together on that exhale and inhale open. So your choice. I really love the feeling of the lower back rolling to the floor as I exhale, and then inhale, the lower back moves away from the floor and the hands move up overhead. Just that pelvic tilt. When you're ready, bring the knees to the chest. You could stay here. Some of you might like to stretch the legs to the sky, holding the backs of thighs, calves, big toes, or little toes. And when you're ready, coming to a seated position. Rolling to one side, coming up, or another way that works for the space you're in. Coming to a position that works for your body, a hip opener, a Vajrasana, sitting on your heels, whatever works for your body. I like to do the Sukhasana where I've got a heel or toes under each knee so that they're kind of balanced. That's how I like to do it, but find your own variation. It's not comfortable, find another variation that's sukha, easy for you. We're going to do some pranayama. Inhale Ujjayi, both nostrils. Exhale, left nostril, I'm mirroring. So the hand again, Mariki Mudra, first two fingers in, other two fingers out, or you can just use a clamshell of a hand, a beak. Inhale both nostrils. Exhale other hand, again I'm doing that Mariki Deer Mudra. Ring finger, little finger together, the other two fingers in, or just making a beak with the hand or a clamshell. So inhale Ujjayi, both nostrils. Exhale right nostril, fully closing the left, half closing the right rather. And just keeping this going, inhale Ujjayi, constricting the throat, both nostrils. The head is slightly down, slight Janudharabandha. Exhale, left nostril, half closed, fully closed right, elbow high. And just keep this going. Inhale 4 seconds, exhale 8, for example, or inhale 3, exhale 6. Doubling the length of the exhale. Inhale 10, inhale 5, exhale 10, or inhale 6, exhale 12. No holds.
Just go with what's natural, don't force the breath. Go to about 80% of your capacity, back off from 100. If you don't do that, it'll stress your nervous system and will have the opposite effect. So this is Anuloma Ujjayi Pranayama. With the grain. Exhale is with the natural grain of the exhale through the nostril. If you like, you can add a hold after exhale, half the length of your inhale. Or the same length as your inhale. So for example, inhale 4, exhale 8, and hold 2 or 4 seconds after exhale. And just finishing up. Bringing the hands to the heart. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Te Namaskaram. Thank you very much.